What's up, everyone? Welcome back. Happy Monday. Today we're talking about problem solving, and we're going to break things down into solving problems for staffing issues that you might have if you're a salon owner, attracting clients, which is always a topic, and then profitability or money. And so those things carry over from business owner to somebody working for somebody else as well, right? There's, I feel like, a good amount to unpack. So what I was thinking about earlier when I was kind of doing pre-show notes was where we come up with these topics or where we come up with the solutions that we give to people to try or to consider, right? And I was thinking they come from our, like Jen's past business, your last salon, my past business, my gym, and then Hello. So let's do a quick update on Hello.
Sure.
Why not? It's fun, right? So
let's.
We've got, what do we have going on? This wasn't, by the way, in our show notes. So
oh my God, let me think about this. What do we have going on?
And I didn't even give it to you.
Yeah, it was not in mine.
Before we hit record, we go over like the bullets of the show, but
and this one was left out.
This one was not in there.
So
and
I don't have a curveball.
Yeah. You have an apprentice. How's that going?
I have an apprentice. It is going fantastic. We are almost to our halfway point. And in the state of New Hampshire, that would mean that my apprentice can work on clients without me in the building if I choose to let her. It puts her at the same amount of hours as somebody coming out of school. So that's why that kind of changes. So 1,500 hours in the state of New Hampshire as an apprentice. She is basically deemed that like she could be in the salon working as a stylist without me there if I approve, like I just said.
Awesome.
So super cool. We have covered pretty much everything, and she's a rock star. It's very exciting.
Awesome.
She's a great addition to the team.
I agree. Shout out, Emma.
Yeah.
So we've got a lot of education coming up, going on, stuff like that, because it's sort of that season.
Yes.
We just
I just did
ran a class,
a Bobs and Bangs class. I'll call it Bobs and Bangs, live model haircut demo, which was great. Everybody seemed to take pieces of information out of it that they can apply when they're behind the chair, which was awesome. And we did a little bit of mannequin work, just working on struggles I see in our salon, which was face framing, angles around the face that people are just getting tripped up on or are too scared to cut. So we just talked through that a little bit and used a mannequin to show some different ways to approach it.
Fundamentals, right?
Yes.
Which I just throw that in there because, what'd you say?
My voice is scratchy today.
Oh.
Yeah, and we had some outside people come to take the class, observe the class, and
yeah, we had a few people reach out and just were like, one of our staff members was like, can I bring a friend? Because she has a friend that does hair. So we were like, sure. And then we had a rep come in.
Yep, that wanted just to see sort of.
Just to observe, yeah.
How it goes, yeah.
And then we got some questions about upcoming stuff. So I know you have some upcoming stuff. What was I going to say? Oh, some people that were like, hey, can I come to the whatever class you have's coming up? So
for sure.
Yeah. Not everything will be open to the public because we have different things going on. Some stuff will be ticketed because that's the way stuff goes. And then some stuff is just like getting together to do some hair. Like we have... at the end of this month or next month?
Yeah, end of this month.
We have like a little just jam session.
Yeah, we're going to get together. An old coworker of mine, and she's going to come to the salon, and a few of the staff members have blocked out their time, and we're just going to cut some hair and see what happens. Awesome. Just for fun, because that's cool, and we want to progress.
Definitely. So good stuff, lots of good stuff. And I just wanted to do that. I think we should do that once in a while because it's just like, that's where we're getting everything from. Not everything, but that's where we're getting our current like ideas and topics.
Yeah,
and
it's
things
their
like
experiences in the day to day. Even when I'm educating in other salons, like things that happen there, and you're like, oh, all right, we should talk about that. Or people reach out even and ask questions, right? For
sure. All right, let's jump into problem solving. So you're going to, if you have a business or a career or you're alive, you're gonna have.
Oh, you're alive.
You're gonna face challenges, right? So
everybody does every day.
Yeah, for sure. So we need to figure out, we want to get to the root cause of the
Definitely.
problem. And this is what we do when we work with
Which
somebody.
then will lead you to your solution.
Yeah, you can't come up with a solution unless you know the cause. There's a cause and then there's an effect.
Yeah.
And if the effect is undesired, then you have to figure out why.
Right.
And I think sometimes people ask the wrong questions or they think the wrong things. And that could be due to a ton of factors, outside pressure. Like with social media, people are telling you what your problems are instead of trying to figure out. I've noticed that with a lot of other, and I'm not trashing anybody, but mentors.
Yeah.
Well,
that's their hook, right?
Yeah. They're like, you have to do this. This is your problem. And I'm like, what if that's not their problem?
Right.
You don't know that that's the problem for every single person.
And if it is, they don't have to do it one way. Like there's so many different ways to arrive at the solution that works for them.
Yeah. And I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of talking about other people, but I think it can be dangerous for people.
Yes.
Like we've experienced it personally.
Yes.
So when you just force things because you're trying to fit an idea, that things could go wrong.
Or if you're in a situation of desperation, right? It's very easy.
That's another one. Yeah.
To just take any advice, like somebody save me, tell me what to do. But if Todd or I tell you what to do, what worked for us, that doesn't mean it's going to work for you. So if we don't understand how you got this desperate or what road got you here, and also what road makes you not feel desperate, like what does that look like? Because everybody's avenue is going to be different out of their own situation. So we have to understand that in order to help you. You have to understand that in order to guide yourself. Like there's never, ever, ever, ever going to be an easy answer or one answer that fits all. It's never going to happen. So get over that right now and realize there's some hard work in front of you.
I will say sometimes the answers are easier than others.
Yes. I feel like once you realize where your path is, it's not as hard as you think it's going to be. The hard part is figuring out how you got here, what made you get here, and sort of what does your vision for your future look like coming out of it.
And I don't want to leave out where you came from.
Yes.
Because that trajectory is sometimes off as well, because you think you should be doing this and that's not going to get you to your goal.
Right.
All right. So what are we trying to do? We're trying to arrive at and understand exactly what's broken in our business so that we can identify an approach, I guess, to fix the problem. And we'll do some examples in a bit here. I don't think this is step one. You've got to break your problems down into smaller steps, smaller little chunks. So if you're overwhelmed, you might, like I said, we're going to talk about staffing. If you're overwhelmed, somebody could be in a frantic state and make mistakes. I've personally seen this where say you need staff and you just hire everybody. Major mistake. I know you need staff, but
you need the right staff.
Unless you figure out like why you don't have the staff and what sort of staff you need, now you're just repeating the cycle again. So it might seem cool to have money coming in from other people or to have your chairs rented or to have whatever, right? Situation. But you're going to end up back where you started.
Right.
Unless you figure out
a temporary
the
fix.
why. Yeah. So the super simple way to do this is that ask 5 whys, where you just ask why. I think one of the mistakes though people make there is that they think maybe when I hit 5, that's where I'll have my answer. 5 is sort of the arbitrary number. It's just you're most likely going to have to ask around that number. You might arrive at your root cause of a problem at 2 whys.
Right.
But it also might take you 15. So don't just be like, why? Like a 3-year-old and just at the 5th why be like, this is my solution.
Must be it.
Right. All right. So let's jump into staffing issues. And there's 2 sort of avenues I want to cover here. My first we'll go with is your staff is not doing exactly what you want them to do, or they struggle, or they, whatever you think the problem is, we'll get there. And then the second is you don't have staff and you need some.
This is great.
So yeah, these are just problems that we hear from people.
Yeah. And most common probably.
Yeah. Super common, right? You might think that someone knows how to clean.
You might.
And you might think that that's common sense, right? You might even create a system that lists everything that needs to get done. That might not be enough. So this happened recently at our salon.
Mm-hmm.
We created a list, like a closing list,
Yep.
which I'm sure tons of salons out
Yep.
there have, closing work, whatever.
Laminated, you can mark it off.
Yeah. And still every day, every person would be like, what do you need? What should I do?
Right.
And I'm like, there's a list.
And I found myself coming in because I'm usually the first one there. And I'm like, I'm cleaning up stuff. I'm like, how
This
is
should
this
be-
not getting done? And
because no
I'm
one knew-
frustrated.
Yeah. Because it wasn't so the problem we had was it wasn't detailed enough.
Mm-hmm. What might work for someone was not working for the current staff we have.
And it would have been easy to look at the staff and blame them
Right.
when it was our fault.
Yeah.
So that's your first question right there is like, whose fault really is it? Because
We had to switch our system.
yeah, we switched our system. And before I even explained it, people just jumped in because
was great.
it's that clear.
Yes.
It's so crystal
And
clear.
the feedback has been amazing.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. You're like asking people to, do more stuff. It's not a lot more. It's just cleaning up after yourself, basically. But if you don't lay out exactly what you're expecting, your staff might not get it.
Right.
Or if you don't show them exactly like, this is how I want a chair to be cleaned
Right.
off, their clean and your clean might be different. So
Yeah.
you might clean 100% and they might clean 50% and they might look at it and go, that is clean. I cleaned it.
Right.
They're not bad people.
Nope.
If that happens to you, your staff's not bad people.
Right.
They just need more direction.
Correct.
And they need more of exact. Like, so this is exactly what you do. So what we did at our salon is we just created like a tiered, like a rolling closing work list. So inside of every station, we have a station closing and opening list, which you sign off on. But then there's also different areas of the salon that need to be addressed, right? And, it's easy to look at now. So if you are the first person leaving on the shift, you just go to that on the chart and it tells you exactly what you're responsible for. And then you do it and you initial it. And the next person goes, oh, so-and-so already did this. I must be the second person out. And there's your list. And so you can see how the more detail you have, the better it is.
Yeah.
So
It's been amazing.
Not to like harp on systems, but if you put systems into your business, it just makes everyone.
And now the stress of this cleaning, which was a common topic with some of the people that felt like they were cleaning all the time, it was definitely a topic with myself, is gone.
Exactly, because some people
Our mind can be moving in a different direction.
Yeah, some people think they're like super cleaners, and other people they think they're cleaners too, but they might not be to the same level. Again, just like it's not to your level, your staff has different personalities as well. So not that there was animosity, but
there was frustration.
It could have headed towards that, and we were able to swing that back in less than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Maybe even a week.
We listened and then laid it out, and there we were.
Yeah. The second thing I want to dive into is with staffing issues is getting staff, keeping staff. So let's roll through. What are some root causes? I think I have a list of like 10 or even more, of why you might not have staff. So the first one that makes sense is that people might not know you exist.
Yep.
You might have a recruitment issue.
Yes.
So you might think you're super popular and cool, and you might have some followers on Instagram, but the majority of the world doesn't know your name.
Right.
So
and they need to.
what can you do? I would create a strategy, and we can break down strategies and plans in a different episode. That's actually a good topic. I would create a strategy for your hiring process. So that might look like getting out to local schools, doing community events. It might be like posting on social media specific to your hiring process. That might be sponsored. I can't remember the name of the companies that you put like your job listings on, but you know what I'm talking about, like
Canvas Me.
careers.com. Canvas Me is more specific.
Yep.
Yes, that's a good one.
Yep. Back in the day, I think we used to use, honestly, back in the day, Craigslist was a place where a lot of salons would hire from. I don't know if it is currently.
Craigslist, things like that. What about high turnover rate? So
Yes.
if you have high turnover rate, you've got to ask yourself now some tough questions, because you probably are blaming something outside of your salon. Like I don't hear it so much, but I used to hear like, well, they stole my staff, or they poached my staff, or whatever. That's not really a thing. Your staff is looking outside for a reason.
They are open to leave, and
yes,
there they go.
I would probably like evaluate your work conditions. Like, what are you asking of people? Are you honest when you hire somebody up front? Are you telling them things and then not following through?
I think that's
stuff like that.
Really important. And I think also, if you've been a salon owner for a long time, realizing that the staff you hired 10 years ago and the staff you're hiring today, their needs, their wants are very, very different. So if you have not arrived into today's world, you're trying to hire a very archaic way, or hiring with the same rules. Like, it's just, you have to come into today's world and realize what those people want.
For sure. Yeah. So another thing that might be an issue for you, or might be one of your root causes that you arrive at, is you're not providing any opportunity. Like, if there's no growth, eventually your people are going to leave. So for example, say you have, now I don't care if you have this or not, just make sure you have a solid understanding that when people reach the end of like your level system, there's nothing left. They're going to leave. So if I have 5 levels at my salon, and 1 is like, just got out of school, and 5 is whatever you made up, master hair artist, whatever.
Master stylist.
Yeah. Once somebody reaches 5, what's next?
Yeah. My first salon, I was, I think, 4 years doing hair. I was a master stylist. I'm at 25 years now. I don't know what that makes me today. A Jedi Knight, maybe stylist. Not sure, but
it's a level 18. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's all arbitrary because nobody.
But be aware, when you put this system out there, majority of people, they're capped. And that might not even be what you intended to do. But it is when you have a system that has like a start and a finish.
Yeah.
Because then they're like, well, what's after I get here?
Yeah. So for example, when I came on board at your last salon to help sort of straighten things out a little bit, one of the first things that I attacked was you had this level system, and I think it went to 7 or whatever. Sure. So we were able to, I think we got it to 8 levels, and they were defined. And then I had sort of an open step system to continually grow. So you would have like custom levels, like, because at a certain point,
your just increase would be this per month, per year, whatever. Right. And you just move on from there. But you're not going to keep making this whole thing. It's just, this is where you go.
Another problem that you might face is your staff leaving, or you're having trouble hiring staff because you don't have any training or a development plan or any direction for people. So not only do they need you to show them the opportunities for growth, but they need you to show them the path as well. And if it's not laid out, or you go, oh, we just watch each other, or we do education. I was in a meeting with somebody that offered to send somebody overseas for training. And I was like, that's not going to happen. This person just lied to this person's face. And I'm in the middle of the meeting, and I'm like, there's nothing I can say or do here. I quit. And I'm pretty sure I quit. Anyways.
And that's creating these like false scenarios where you're promising everything and you can't deliver it. That's worst case. Don't do that. Overpromise, underdeliver. It should be the opposite.
Yes. Well, you would think, but I also think that leaders have to look at themselves, because I don't know if they're even aware that they do it. I think it's so common for somebody to just be like, oh, I'll do that, because you just want to make everyone so happy. Right. Like, a lot of people are people pleasers. Right. And that is going to turn around and bite you in the ass, because
that's when you start feeling salty.
Exactly.
I always say, and it took me a while to get here, I cannot want more from any of our staff than they want for themselves. There are lots of times I do, but I have to hold myself back if they're not ready for it. If it's just there's a ton of circumstances, and it's made me a better owner, a better leader, and a much happier person, because I can see paths for people, but if they're not willing to do the work and consistently keep hitting it, then I can't do it for them.
How about unrealistic expectations?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. So you don't want to burn your staff out. And if you're a staff, you don't want to get burnt out.
Right.
No one wants that.
Yep.
I would set some goals. Maybe you do more one-on-ones with your staff. If you don't do one-on-ones ever, do them. We don't do them as frequently as we should, but we do touch base with our staff a lot.
And at one point we were doing them more than we needed to.
That's why we backed.
Yeah.
Yes, that's why we backed off. We just didn't hit the sweet spot yet.
Yeah, we're figuring it out, right?
Which goes to show you that no matter, we're like, 4 years in on this project, it's not perfect.
Yeah, it's always going to be a work in progress.
We're still working on it. And we're not in any delusion about like, oh, it's the best business ever. And like, when it's the best business ever, I'll sell it.
Nice.
Right? I mean, because
ideally that's
it'll be something tangible for people to buy.
Right.
So maybe you set some goals with them. Maybe you adjust their schedules. Maybe you mentor them or find them a mentor or find yourself a mentor that can guide you towards a healthy like work-life balance.
And I think that starts with just an open conversation, and don't expect that you know what they need. Ask them.
Right. For sure.
Like, let them answer you.
Don't assume.
Yeah, because you may be way off. So going into that with just an open mind, like, hey, how can I help? What's going on? And just let them talk.
This next one's a big one. Communication issues.
Yes.
I've worked in, I couldn't even tell you how many businesses where the manager or the owner or whoever would be like upset with something you or someone else did, and they shut down because they think that's the approach. I'll be passive aggressive, or I'll ignore them, and that'll teach them a lesson. False. What are you possibly teaching somebody by ignoring them?
Nothing. That you're an asshole.
Right.
Sorry.
So, like, what could we do there? What's a solution?
Communication is hard. I get it. But if you're in a leader role, you got to get good at it. And everyone should work on communication, because it's what progresses any relationship.
I don't even know if it's just a leadership role, but it's everyone. So if you listen to our podcast and you're, say, a commission employee at a salon or a barbershop, you still need to know how to communicate with the owner of that business or the manager or whoever.
Right. It's
still on you. If they can't communicate back,
that's going to be the problem that's going to happen, right?
But you still need to be able to communicate.
Yes.
None of this stuff is one-sided.
Agreed.
I just wanted to make that clear. So some solutions could be just like simply encouraging some open, honest communication. Like, hey, I want to sit down, have tea or coffee with you, and just touch base. What's going well? What's going bad? You're going to have good and bad. If there's never anything ever wrong, I don't trust those people.
I would agree. And I think
I'm like, they're just holding it in, or they don't want to say it or something.
So I was just going to say, I think one of the things I see often with people who cannot communicate when I talk to them is like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what question to ask. Simply say it. If you're the staff member to the owner, just like, hey, can we talk? Things just aren't working for me right now. And then let's see where that goes. You don't have to have the answers or the solutions in that case. You just have to say, hey, maybe I'm not happy right now here and I want to be, and I don't know why. Like, or if it's the owner, like, hey, I'm seeing this. Tell me what's going on. Like, you don't have to have all the questions, all the answers. You just have to have one that opens up the conversation. That's it.
Yeah, open the conversation for sure. And if you're not sure where you'd go from there, like if Jen was my employee and she said that to me, I would say, how so? How are you feeling? And then she might say something.
Wait, you're going to say how so to me?
Yeah, like if you said, I don't think things are working for me here.
Gotcha. How so?
I would know through being someone that's been in leadership positions for a long time, I would know that there's some sort of emotion that you're after that you're not getting, or there's an emotion that you don't want that you are getting.
Gotcha. I'd come back with.
So I would say, if you said things aren't working for me here, I would say, how so? Meaning, do you have any specifics?
Right.
And then I would say, how are you feeling? Or what are you feeling?
Come back with, this is what I'm seeing, and I'm just not understanding why these things are happening. Something like that.
Great. Thanks for bringing it to my attention. How's that making you feel? Because I still want to know what this person wants to feel. And we don't have to do the rest of the role play, but
the how so threw me off. I'm like, what?
Well, great. Yeah.
I get it.
You get it now?
Yeah.
All right. All right. Moving on. So some issues with staffing. What about values? We talk about core values all the time.
What do you stand for?
Values are misaligned with your employees, or you're an employee and you're not aligned with your business that you work at, it's not going to work.
Right.
So that goes back to what I said earlier, where you really need to be finding the right employees, not just, I need staff. everyone needs staff. You always need staff. It's such a blah thing.
I think it's so important to find the right employee so that when you hire, your staff trusts that you vetted the process to hire the right person. And they also trust you that if down the road they don't fit, that you're not going to keep them and hurt their culture too. Like it's very important.
Yes, 100%. And this is not the same as allowing a toxic person to run your who you hire.
Right.
And we've seen that at your last business.
Yes.
It was terrible. So you would have people come in and that person would be the outcast. And some of the people on your team would make the person feel bad or ignore them or whatever because they're like, whatever reason.
Lots of shitty things. Yeah.
When in reality, the root cause was that person you already had on your team.
Correct.
Which went to your hiring process, which went to your whole alignment of your company.
Which went to everything falling apart.
Which went to it closing. Yeah. So don't do that.
Yeah, definitely don't do that. If you need help, I can help you with that one.
Because when we talk about this stuff, I think it's easy for people to stop at, oh, well, they had a dickhead on their staff. Right. But who put that person there?
Right. And let them stay.
It falls on the owner.
Yeah. Every day, all day.
Lack of recognition, lack of appreciation. If you're not telling people that they're valued, they're going to eventually feel not valued.
Right. And don't say they should just know.
No, they don't. And don't say some stupid thing like, well, we're family.
Meh.
Yeah, I don't appreciate some of my family and the way they treat me.
Right.
So what?
Either way, they work for you or work with you. I don't care how you say it. And they need to know.
Yeah. What are some other things? So progression, we already kind of talked about with opportunities. Your clientele. So say you have a clientele that is like super demanding and you're hiring people that aren't super strong personality wise and they can't handle that. Like, and that might be your right clientele. It might be a staffing issue, or you might be marketing to the wrong clientele. And who knows? We'd have to go through and sit down with somebody to really figure out what's going on. And then sometimes it's economic. Like, what does your compensation look like? Are you treating people fairly? Are you giving them time off if they need time off? Right. Are you blacking out certain dates because you know it'll be busy, so you're taking time away from people on holidays or whatever it might be? And I understand you have to run a business, but it's the modern world. People don't want to work every weekend. People don't want to work every holiday. People don't want to work when I was in the gym world, it was like expected that I worked every holiday.
Right.
I think.
And people would get mad if you didn't. It's crazy.
I closed on Thanksgiving one day and I got emails.
Yeah.
People were pissed, and that's not fair.
Yeah. But
it was my fault because I allowed that to go on for several years. And then people just were like, well, every other gym does it. And I was like, I'm not every other gym, so I'm not doing it anymore.
Yeah. Go there.
All right. So that was staffing, right?
Yes.
All right, let's touch on attracting clients. There's so many different ways. We talk about this a lot, but you've got to the first thing you got to look at is, what are you doing to get clients? If you don't have a strategy that's written out somewhere, and this is, I'll give you a quick strategy. My clientele is 35 to 55-year-old females with 3 small kids, disposable income, blah, 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 blah. And you go down that. They tend to spend, 3 hours of their day on Facebook, and they visit the local bakery for lunch, whatever. That's your strategy. What are you doing? This would be your plan to get in front of those people and solve their problems. If you're not doing anything, we need to start with that. If you are doing something and it's not working, then we can figure out why, but we would need the specifics of what you're doing. And
if you don't know who your target audience is, then you need to start there.
Yeah, hit pause and go listen to every other podcast we've done.
Yeah.
Or go on our website. We have a blog. I promise I'm going to start blogging again. I think my last one was in March. I've been terrible, but I will get back to it, I promise. Maybe you just need better. I don't know. There's so many different avenues, and I feel like we've just done a few shows on this. Do you have any suggestions or?
For attracting clients?
Yeah, or what? Not attracting clients, but what is the problem? What's the breakdown? What's the root
I think a
cause
lot of people think if they just put a picture on Instagram, that's just going to attract them.
So
which is not,
your actual knowledge of the situation.
Yeah.
So a little bit of marketing.
That's one tool to use for a bit of attracting clients, right? That's like your walking business card. But it doesn't mean that just because you do post.
You always say it's a walking business card and it doesn't walk.
I don't know why I say that.
You say
it's
that.
A virtual business card. I
Sure.
don't know.
Yeah, that makes more sense to me.
I'll try to switch that word, but I'm probably going to say it again. I think the effort of taking a picture and putting it on your social platform is not enough to gain traction in what you're doing. If you truly want to use social media for that, pictures, yes, but then show the space you're working at, show your face, tell them what you offer, what sets you apart, like what's your unique experience that you offer to those clients. Those are things that have to go on top of just putting pictures up on social media.
So you just touched on 3. You said unique.
Yep.
You said atmosphere.
Yes.
And you said, what was the other one? Oh, you.
Yeah.
So
I want to know who's behind the work.
Yeah. So you might break down your problem into why clients aren't coming to you, why clients aren't finding you. It could be just that you're not putting yourself out there. Yeah. It could be simply that. So if you're not, start there because that's the easy win. You'll get the low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
You'll get a few clients.
Promote yourself.
Then where do you go from that? Like it could be that you're not unique enough. You're not telling people what you do specifically for them. Mm-hmm. It could be that you're not showing off your atmosphere and other places are. Excuse me. It could be that you're not showing off your personality, so nobody's able to connect with you. Right. If you just post the back of someone's head every single day, I have no idea who you are. I have no idea if I'm going to vibe with you or if I'm going to want to sit in your chair.
Yep.
So I'm going to move on to someone that just gives me that information.
Right.
It's that easy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's jump into, I feel like we harp on the marketing a lot. So moving on, let's talk about money, profitability, profit. Put in more dollars in your pocket. And first of all, the reason you want to make more money is because you can solve more problems, which is what this episode is.
And once you start looking at it like that, it's a game changer because it changes your mindset.
I've said a ton of times before, and I'm sure I heard it somewhere. It's not mine, I'm sure. But if you have a cause, right? Don't be like a slacktivist. Don't be someone that posts on social media, I'm raising awareness for whatever. Like, I'm raising awareness for the whales that are killed in the ocean. I'm pretty sure everyone already knows that fucking happens. Is anybody unaware that there's an issue with that? Like a whaling issue? I'm sure we all know. I'm raising awareness for that. Guess where you can have an impact? If you had money. Mm-hmm. If you had enough money, you could go do something about the whales. Everybody always laughs, but
save the whales.
Whatever. You know what I mean?
Get you, yeah.
I want to raise whatever. I want to raise awareness. That's not doing anything. It's slacktivism. So you've got to take steps towards the root causes.
Absolutely.
Now, the root causes with this one, it might seem variable or I guess throw you off a little bit because it's easy to think, well, if I had more clients, I would make more money. When in reality, we need to figure out, do you even have time for more clients?
Right.
Because working more might be a solution. Don't get me wrong.
Yep, depending.
Oftentimes it's not.
Right.
So, because we see that with people, we've seen this with people that join us coming out of school or they're new stylists. They've been doing hair for a few years and they're like, I want to work every day.
Yeah.
Why? Why don't we fill 3 days?
Yeah.
And then we'll add the 4th or start with 4 days, whatever. And then we'll consolidate. Like you always have to have a goal in mind.
Yes.
You also might not see the full picture if something like your pricing is off. So say, for example, we'll just keep super simple math. You have a business or a person and you're sort of ignoring the full picture. So you have 100 clients and each client pays you on average $300 a month, right? Super simple. Don't even think about, well, my clients come in every 12 weeks. Yeah. Stop. Just stick with me for a second. So that's $30,000 a month, right? Now, a quick question that you should ask is $30,000 a month enough
to run your business?
To run your business, to pay you, to solve whatever problems you want to solve, save the whales, whatever, right?
Because if it's not, now it's a different situation.
Right. We have to then account for everything. So you are going to have to look at your numbers and be aware of everything in your business, okay? Dollars in, dollars out. I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible. So you think, okay, 30,000 isn't enough. I need more clients. Okay, you keep coming back to that. Let's look at your pricing before we just start marketing. Let's look at your pricing. I haven't raised my prices in forever, ever.
So we need to start there.
Okay, cool. So since we're deciding to look at everything and we know that you haven't raised your prices and we know that customers generally will tolerate 15 to 20% increases, which is what, $45 at 15%. So let's call it $50 to make it easy. So now if you raised your prices to hit that $350 a month mark, you just generated an extra $5,000. Is $35,000 a month enough? Yeah, that would be perfect. Great. Now you're making more money servicing the same amount of clients. And before anybody says, but my clients will leave me, one, I've never seen everyone's clients leave.
Right.
Ever. In any industry that I've ever been in. When I worked in restaurants, when we raised prices, everyone didn't get up and walk out.
Right. It
never is going to happen. Two, then you can go back to your original issue that you kept pounding me with, which was, I need more clients. It's not rocket science.
And in that strategy, the math of like the percentage of raising prices gives it so that, yes, you may lose a few, but ultimately it's not that many because you haven't pushed beyond that barrier that would push a lot out.
Well, yeah. So,
and if you're in a situation where you really need to make a big jump, you might need to strategically over the next year make 3 small jumps or 4 small jumps to get where you need to be so that you're in that threshold every single time.
Right. And what Jen is saying in a nutshell is that you might lose some clients, but you'd be making the same amount of money or slightly more.
Right.
Which leaves you in the same position. So then at that point you ask yourself, do I raise my prices again, or do I get more clients, or do I offer a different service, or do I,
it's a strategy,
et cetera. Yeah.
With anything with business, it's a marathon. It's nothing's going to be a short, I mean, you may have little short wins, but most often it's the long game and you need to have a longer strategy than probably you currently do.
Yeah. Other than that, that's what I had today. I think we talk about network a lot. If you don't have an accountant that you can meet with, talk to on the phone, email with, and feel comfortable talking about your numbers with, get one. Definitely. You have to be able to understand those numbers. You've got to look at your payroll if you're an owner. You've got to look at your rent if you're an owner or a renter. You've got to look at all of your small expenses. You've got to look at things like your subscriptions, like all the stupid stuff that
everything
you have
that's going out.
Yes, you have to account for that stuff, accounting. And then you have to make decisions on, do you need this? Is this necessary? Because it might just be that you're at a situation where you have an excess of money going out,
right,
that you could capture and get to your bottom line. So, all right, well, I challenge everyone out there to find a root cause of one of the challenges that you're having or experiencing in your business.
And if you're struggling with any of that, you know where to find us.
All right, that's it. That's all I got. Thanks, everyone. Goodbye.